Nearly every week, I sit with somebody who's replaying a conversation long after others have probably forgotten about it. Sometimes it happened yesterday, it may have happened last week, it may have even happened years ago, but their mind is still replaying it. And researchers linked repetitive negative thinking with anxiety and depression over time. But in therapy, I rarely see that this is overthinking, but often something that just hasn't settled. Does this sound familiar? I'm Kat Scurr, a counsellor and psychotherapist here in the UK, specialising in neurodivergence, trauma and sleep. Today I want to talk about why some conversations stay with us long after they have ended, and why this isn't just simply overthinking. Many people call this overthinking, but that word is just too simple. Sometimes that conversation may not have sat well with you, and maybe something inside just doesn't feel quite right. This might be your gut instinct. Sometimes the body picks up on something before the mind has even discovered it. And sometimes it might not even be about the conversation itself. Sometimes the conversation may have picked up on an older fear, a pattern, or a wound. Sometimes the better question is not why am I overthinking it? It's more of what has not settled for me. Does this sound familiar? You might have lots of questions whirring around. Did I say too much? Did I say enough? Did I say anything to upset them? Did I sound rude? Was I awkward? Did I misunderstand something, or did I miss a cue? Or should I have said something differently? Maybe it's time to start asking yourself deeper questions than that. Why does getting something wrong feel so dangerous for me? Was there a space to make mistakes growing up? Were you criticised for small things? Were you expected to get everything right? Did you grow up in a family where you had to keep peace? Were you given the role of fixer, caretaker, peacemaker? Did mistakes lead to shame, silence, anger, withdrawal? For some people, this links to perfectionism, and for some people, this links to shame. But for some people, this can sit alongside obsessive thoughts and OCD, where the mind keeps searching for certainty. This does not mean that everybody that replays conversations has OCD, but it means that they have a very powerful need for certainty. Sometimes the conversation is not the whole issue. The fear is underneath this. For instance, the thought of, what happens if I get this wrong? Then we move into rejection sensitive dysphoria, known as RSD. A delayed reply can feel heavy. A change in tone can stay in your mind. A facial expression can feel like evidence that you've done something wrong. A short message may feel too personal. Then the mind starts looking for clues. Did I annoy them? Did I upset them? And have I damaged the relationship? Research on RSD and ADHD is still ongoing. However, a recent qualitative study showed that people with RSD and ADHD experience this as masking, withdrawal, and bodily sensations. When rejection sensitive dysphoria is involved, this can feel very hard, fast, and really hard to reason with. In fact, I would say that if it was in a battle, RSD is going to win most of the time. For many people with neurodivergence, the processing of a conversation happens afterwards, and it's really hard to process in that moment with lots of things going on around them. That processing afterwards might involve the tone, the body language, the facial expressions, the background noise, what was said, what was implied and what was not said. But the conversation may only make sense later. Some autistic people may replay the conversations to understand the social meaning. There may be questions raised around the tone, the intention, or any hidden meaning, and that person may be trying to work out what that interaction actually meant. Some people with ADHD may replay the conversation due to the emotional intensity. They may worry they interrupted, or maybe they overshared. They may worry that they came across too strongly, and that the emotional reaction from that has been triggered and is really hard to let go of. For people with autism and ADHD, both of these things can happen. The person might be trying to understand the social meaning, whilst carrying the emotional intensity of this. For some people, the conversation doesn't end when the other person leaves. It's when the brain finally makes sense of it. Does this sound familiar? If you're interested in neurodivergence, trauma and sleep, you're welcome to subscribe as I share a new video each week. I want to talk now about trauma, as trauma can train the nervous system to scan for danger. Conversations can feel risky, and a small change in tone can make a difference. Such as someone seeming distant, this can feel really threatening, and the brain might keep trying to replay that conversation to prevent further hurt. It may be trying to work out what went wrong so it doesn't happen again. Your brain might not be trying to upset you, but it might be trying to protect you, even if doing it this way feels exhausting. As a therapist, I've got a really big belief in the gut instinct, and sometimes a conversation might stay with you because something was just off. Maybe someone was dismissive. Maybe something felt unkind. Maybe their words and tone don't match, or maybe your body noticed something that your mind couldn't explain. Not every replay is irrational, and sometimes your instinct is trying to tell you to pay attention. But we do need to balance this carefully, as sometimes the feeling is about the past, and sometimes the feeling is about the present. Sometimes the current conversation might touch an older wound, and sometimes the nervous system is responding to a memory as much as the moment. The work is not to dismiss your instinct. The work is to ask, is this something now, or is this about something older too? Notice that when you're replaying a conversation, what is it that you're searching for? It may be about reassurance, certainty, safety, evidence you did nothing wrong, proof that the other person is not upset, a way to repair something, permission to let it go, or maybe understanding. The main question to ask is, what am I hoping to find by replaying this conversation? What is it that I'm looking for? There are many hidden costs that come with replaying these conversations. It can affect sleep. It can increase anxiety. It can lower confidence. It can make you avoid people. It can make you apologize repeatedly to others. It can make social situations feel stressful, and it may take up space in your mind that needed the rest. Sometimes that conversation might last only for 5 minutes, but your mind will carry it for much longer. Instead of asking, why can't I stop thinking about this? Maybe ask yourself, what feels unfinished? What am I trying to protect myself from? What am I needing right now? What would reassurance look like? And what would safety look like? And what would help me to feel more settled? Once you find what your mind is searching for, you have more choices in how to respond. This is something I often explore in therapy. And when the client says to me, well, why am I overthinking? The first thing I'll correct is that you're not overthinking. We need to look at why this is happening. We need to know why the conversation feels unfinished and what the fear is underneath it. We will often look at your history to understand what touched it. And we will often look at links with neurodivergence, trauma, rejection, sensitive dysphoria. The things that will really give us a clue to understand that these conversations simply are not overthinking. The aim is not to silence yourself. The aim is to understand yourself. If you replay conversations long after they have ended, you are not alone. It is often beneath the surface that there is much more happening. It's simply not overthinking. Your mind might be searching for safety, certainty, reassurance, and understanding. And once you see what you're searching for, you can begin to respond differently. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. What causes you to replay conversations? Only share if it feels safe. Thank you for watching. You're welcome to subscribe if you'd like further information around neurodivergence, trauma, and sleep.